Okay, what's up everybody? This sneaker dude here. We have two Jordan 1 University Blues. And I thought I'd do a video because I got a pair and I smelled it and I knew right away. Like, dang it. Like it was cameraman, stop laughing. Sorry. I know I'm funny, but stop. No, you're fine. You're fine, other sneaker dude. Here's the other sneaker dude. Okay, so I knew right away it was no good, and so I contacted the company, and they were super like mortified and sent me a new pair. So I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison because honestly, like these are one of the best fakes that I've actually seen. And so I thought I'd like just walk through some things with everybody on, you know, legit checking these sneakers here. I'll flip the box lid around so that doesn't confuse anybody. Okay, so now we're all squared away. Okay, so first thing, let's come down here and look at the boxes side by side on the labels. So the one, it's pretty easy to tell boxes because this one right here that has this extra label from this whatever, who they are, where they are, that's actually the real one. So the box itself, in terms of the print, you can see USA 12 is kind of a darker font on the real pair than it is on the fake pair. So we got a slightly darker font in terms of, as well as just like the lettering in general is a little bit crisper on the real versus the fake. So you gotta kind of have to, cameraman, maybe be like side by side where you can get the whole thing in so that they can kind of see all of it. You're gonna make everyone motion sick with all of this moving around.
It's hard to get an angle. That's
fine. So you're also filming it up and down. That's okay. We like it up and down. Okay. iPhone generation people.
Shut up.
Okay, so but you look at the boxes, so the font is just kind of crisp and clean. I mean, unless it's side by side though, you're not going to maybe see some of those things, right? Here it's just kind of all one bolded color. Whereas USA 12 on the real pair really stands out, and then these are a lighter font. They're more crisp looking. The text as well, made in China, fabrique en Chine, HO en China, whatever. Like these are all, it's really crisp, clean. This is like a fatter, darker font that they've used here. So those are some differences, you know, right off the bat. All right, let's go.
Also, look at the swoosh. This one is much lower. Or the whole logo.
Oh, yeah, but that could be just how they folded box. So let's open up the box. The date on the lid is both, they're both exactly the same. Right? So, again, the one on the right is the real. The stamp date, you'll notice that the stamp date down here at the bottom is where we're seeing a difference. We're seeing more letters and numbers and things like that on the real versus the fake pair. As well as just like the sheen. I don't know if the camera is picking it up that well, but like this one, the real box is a little bit darker. This one seems a little bit like there's a little more scuffs. There's not as much of a sheen on the box.
It doesn't show it too well.
Yeah, you might not see that very well on the camera, but that's okay. Okay, so let's put the lids aside. The paper. The paper on your real pair is honestly, it's crappier paper. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like you get a new pair of shoes and it's like ripped and it's crappier. It really is crappier paper. The fake pair, like I know you can't feel it, but the fake pair, like this is like a nicer, thicker, like higher end paper. It feels good. It's like, oh, a nice paper. But it's, yeah, it's a good trick. But this paper, the crappier paper that tears so easily that you're all very familiar with, that's actually the real paper. Okay, let's get some things right off the bat. Okay, reel. Can you get both shoes in?
Yeah.
Okay, so the laces, the lace color that comes in the bag is a little bit more vibrant than the color of the suede on the shoe itself. This lace on the fake pair, it matches pretty well. Like it looks exactly the same. It's the same color, but on the real pair, it's just a little bit more vibrant. And so that's what you're gonna want to see, this slightly more vibrant. It more closely matches actually the lettering on the logo than it does the actual
suede.
The actual suede. So that's one thing. But again, this is such an excellent fake. It's interesting to go through. Another thing to look at is the shape of the shoe. So you look at the back shape of both shoes, and you're gonna want to see, you know, a nice hourglass shape. And this is where this shoe is getting really good, the fake pair, because it does have a decent shape to it, right? It's decently curvy. This one is a little bit, but again, unless you had a pair like side by side, that's another hard thing that's going to be hard to tell. The back tabs, that's another area that you look at. Like the back tabs look very, very similar. The feel of the suede on both of these is very, very similar. If you look at the logos, they actually did a really great job with these logos. Usually you can tell on the logos where, like, you can see that the lettering on the Air Jordan is just like slightly thicker than it is over here. Here it's like a little bit more crisp. So back up so you can see both side by side, Sawyer. And I don't know if you can see that at all. I mean, it's hard on the camera, but it's just a little bit like thicker lettering, and this is just a little bit more crisp lettering. So that's another thing. Here, if we take out this part, you'll see that the actual Jordan one versus the other one, they're like very similar. Again, the crispness of the font here seems to be like a little bit more crisp, but in terms of like depth and detail, this one actually looks like a little bit, it's pressed in deeper than the other one over here. So there's that. Let's go to the toe box area. On the toe box, you can look at the perforation holes. The holes on the fake pair are just slightly bigger. So they're going to be just back up so you can see the whole toe box. So they're just a little bit bigger than they are. They're a little bit more narrow on on the real pair that's on the right. Another thing I noticed is the thickness of the lace. If you feel the lace on this real pair, I know you can't feel it, and I know it would be very hard to visually see the difference, but this is like this is like a hefty lace. This is a thicker lace than laces that are on other pairs of shoes. Like you feel this, you're like, man, that's a beefy lace versus that lace.
Oh, you can actually kind of see it.
Can you actually kind of see it?
Yeah.
So there's the fake one. Here's the beefy one.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing I noticed that I wanted to show, on the swooshes. So the angle of the swoosh, if you can back up a little bit, Sawyer, or just zoom in and show this one. So if you took something and just followed the curvature of that swoosh around, you'll see that it pretty much goes and lines up with where your laces are on the inside curve. Okay, if I do it over here and I follow that curvature around where that curvature is, it's pointing back a lot further. So this one, the curve kind of pointed me more straight up. This one kind of was more curvy, and it pointed a lot further. There it goes, towards the back. And I did it on all of the swooshes, and it was the same kind of thing. Like, here's the, following that curve, it's pointing way back. If I flip it on this side, same thing. This one just comes up, oops, sorry. Comes up right to kind of, you know, where you're pointing at your lace holes. So that's another area to look at. Another thing is if you look at the bottoms, let's see. So on, this is going to be really hard to see. So on this, the real pair, there's like, it's like a curvier bottom. Like there's on the sides here. So let's see if we can get down and, yeah, so on the sides here, this part kind of curves in to the shoe itself. And so it's a curvier bottom, whereas this pair, it's flat. It's straight across flat. It doesn't have, especially on those edges. And I know it's like, would be, you can't really see it there, but throughout the shoe on the sides here.
Yeah, like that, you can see it.
You can see how it kind of curves down. And then on this pair, there's the fake pair. It does not do that. It's just flat. It's straight across flat. Then you look at the lettering behind the Nike sign, and the print here is just a little bit more like finer and more detailed. It's smaller than it is here. It's like bigger. So that's another difference. I mean, the Nikes are very similar looking. The R kind of stands out a little bit more on the real pair. But as you feel it in your hand, like there's a definite, like throughout here on the real pair, there's a definite curve that goes up on the edge, and this is just straight across flat. And then the stars, if you look closely at the stars on the real pair are slightly bigger stars than they are on the fake pair. So you need to get both at the same time if you're going to be able to see that difference. But I know it's small, and if you didn't have one to look at, it would be hard to see. If you put both shoes down, okay, so if you put both shoes down, okay, this is the fake one, sorry. And this is the real one. Let's tuck these in. You're gonna see that let's see if I can do this sideways. All right, so the front of the shoe lays down flat. Whereas on the real pair, you'll notice that the front of the shoe, it swoops up more. So there's that, again, with that curvier bottom, it's gonna swoop up more. If I go to back to the toe box, here's another dead giveaway, right? Everyone, okay. So on the thickness, right? So on a Jordan 1, this piece of leather here on the toe box is actually pretty thin, and it's pretty rigid. So if I press down, see how the fake pair stays? Look at the real pair. The real pair just, it pops right back up. So that's another test. And if I look side by side at the thickness of that leather on the toe box, I know again it's hard to see, but this piece is pretty thin compared to the fatness of that piece back there. On this pair, like actually the leather is good, the suede is good. The feel of it is a little bit different as I feel it side by side. Like this one does have a little bit more of a, I don't, can you actually hear that maybe? Listen. So it makes a little, almost like a plasticky noise, whereas I come on the real leather, I guess I can make it do it if I push really, really hard, but it's much smoother. It doesn't grip as much and have that kind of sticky, it's not sticky, that's the wrong word, but
Grippy.
So let's go on the inside. So on the inside, we're gonna okay. Look at, this is the real pair. Look at the glue marks. Look how high up the glue marks go. Okay. And then here's the fake pair of the insole. Look at the glue marks. See the difference? The glue marks on this fake pair, they stop. So let's go side by side there. The glue marks on the real pair come way up. Actually, I had a hard time getting the real pair out. The fake pair was actually easy because the whole toe area was not glued down. It only had glue back here.
And the color.
The color, there is a slight difference, but again, side by side, unless you had it side by side. Look at the, here's another area. On the real pair is on the top. Notice how deep those cuts are on the side. The 1, 2, 3, those deep cuts. On the fake pair, it has 3 notches, but they're not defined deep notches. So that's another thing. In terms of like the thickness of the foam, like these are, they feel very, very similar. They look, I mean, the print on this one is just a little bit clearer than it is on the fake pair. It's a little bluer, but as I squish it and feel it, it's very little difference. If you look really close, this has striations running down, whereas this does not. This is just kind of more generic foam, not striated kind of foam. I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah, you can.
That's another difference. Let's see, what else was I going to show? Let's look at the stitching while the insoles are out. Okay, so again, we got real pair on the right.
Yeah, that's good.
So on the real pair, look at the stitching. The stitching is like just not as I don't know. There's like less stitching almost, and it's spaced out more. On the fake pair, the stitching is, it seems to be like a little bit tighter of a stitch, a little bit shorter of a stitch, and so that's a difference. If you can see that, real versus not real,
especially on the heel right there.
You look at on the insole, you look at these kind of air vent cuts in the bottom. These are fairly, on the real pair, these are fairly large, substantial. On the fake pair, it's tiny. The one on the toe, again, tiny. But those are, again, very, very small things. We're gonna go and see if you can see this. Let me shut this blinds. This was so when I got the fake pair, the first was like smell test, right? Did not pass smell test. Like it's just, it's a light, Dad. It's a more, here, let me go grab the light. All right. It should still show up, I'm thinking. Like it's just if it's a different smell, right? The glue smell is a different glue smell than it should be, and if you've been around sneakers enough, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so as I look at the black, so this is the best test, right? As I look at the black light, does that show up? So
yes, it does.
So as I look at the black light, there's no extra stitch marks, especially around the swoosh, especially around this toe area. It's, it's clean. It's just, this is how it's supposed to look. Like the stitches, they'll glow like that because that's what that's where they're supposed to. But it's clean. As I look at this fake pair, I look at it. It looks good, right? It looks pretty good here. As I got
It's a little bit too bright for the camera. Oh, right there, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then when I came to the toe box area, I don't know if the camera, right there, yeah, see?
Kind of.
Right there. Let me see if I can get it brighter. Back at just look through the camera. There we go. Wait. There's a slight line. Back up.
I'm trying to show it.
I know. Let's see. So there's this little tiny stitch line. If I can get it. Oh, it's hard to see on the camera, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. What about this one? Can you see this little tiny stitch line? There's this little tiny
Shine a light right there so it gets like a little bit fainter. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it.
Just right there on the edge. If you back up, can you see it? Like if you just go way back and touch on that light area so it darkens maybe.
Oh, actually, kind of.
So there's just the faintest stitch lines around. It's hard to show it on camera, I guess, because it's not liking how it picks it up on the black light, but there's this little guidelines where they would mark it in the factory to stitch it, and on some shoes it's like real bad and you can see it and it's real obvious. On these ones it's actually, I had to get real close. Like on this one, I can barely even see it on this one. I mean, it's kind of there. There's this little guidelines, and again, the camera's probably not showing that, is it? And right here, again, they cleaned this one up. This one looks good. There's not really much there, but right. I don't know if you can see right.
Yeah, not really.
Back up. I think if you had it back further, you might be able to see the distinction. And then touch on the lights, the bright part, so it darkens. Cameraman. No. And then just maybe zoom and see if that does it. It's not showing up.
Not really.
What about on? Let's see, on this other one that was a little bit more pronounced. Like right here.
No, not really.
No, not really. We're not able to show it. So the camera's not being nice to the black light. Your naked eye is better. What about that one?
Let's see. Oh yeah, a little bit. Do that again.
So see how when I hit it right with the light right there, you can see that little
whiteness.
Just right there around the edge there. The camera like adjusts for it as soon as it shows, but it's like right when I hit it. So do the toe box area again. Do you see that little faint line? Those little faint lines that you're seeing, they disappear quick, but because of the camera. But it's, yeah, this other pair doesn't have it. You would see it. So that's a good thing to show under a black light, is all of those stitch marks. Do we have a pair that has bad stitch, like that we've got, that is like a bad pair of fakes that has bad stitch marks that show up really bad? Or not really?
Here, hold this for a sec.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I got rid of all those. It's just because, you know, we don't want fake pairs around. But anyway, that's another great way to tell. Let's see, I think I went through everything that I wanted to show you. Here's this cameraman. So, again, this was a really good, these are some really good fakes. What I would look at right away is the bottom of the shoe, just some highlights, right? The bottom of the shoe, is it too flat or does it curve up enough? You know, the toe test is a time, you know, does it do this and stay down? The smell of it, what does the color of the laces look like? Pull out that insole, look at the stitching. Is there too much stitching or does it look like the other one did? Look at the bottom of the insole. The glue, where does the glue go all the way up, or does it only go part way up? Look at the notches. So those are some great ways to tell, you know, whether you got a real one or not. Thanks everybody. It's probably really dark on the video right now, but
no, it's not actually.
Okay, cool. And that's it. Thanks from the Sneaker Dudes to you. See you later.